Welcome to the All Language Resources channel where we review different resources to help you learn a new language. In this video, we've rounded up our top picks for learning Mandarin Chinese. Each one of these courses gets a rating of at least 3.5 out of 5 stars, meaning they're above average on our site. What's more, they all have something that sets them apart, no matter what you're looking for: beginner lessons, handsy, in-depth explanations, or a less intimidating introduction to the language. We think you'll find it on this list. Would you like the chance to try premium resources in exchange for sharing your honest feedback? You can apply to be a tester from the link in the description box. Chinese for Us is an exceptionally thorough series of courses for beginner and lower intermediate Chinese learners. In fact, it's so thorough that even higher level students may benefit from taking these courses to fill in gaps in their knowledge. The syllabus takes an in-depth rather than a quick approach to learning Mandarin, preferring a comprehensive curriculum to fast progress. If you're hoping to reach fluency or live in a Mandarin-speaking territory, it will give you an excellent base. However, if you want to quickly learn survival Mandarin or pass an HSK exam, you may be better off opting for a different resource. The teacher Lily speaks very clearly in Mandarin, plus her explanations are clear and detailed. The courses mix video lessons, quizzes, and reviews, while some lessons have downloadable worksheets you can practice writing the characters. You'll also get access to 2 remarkably thorough courses dedicated to pronunciation and tones.
And we also have 2 radicals. The first one, shan, it means mountain, and it kind of looks like the shape of the
Some
mountain.
final thoughts on this course. It's extremely comprehensive. There's a strong focus on learning Chinese characters early on. The quizzes push you to problem solve and learn in context. And the 6-month+ subscriptions are extremely good value for money. However, you'll spend a longer time at the beginner levels, and some of the beginner level quizzes are too easy. Yoyo Chinese conversational courses are well designed, full of great teaching, and have some unique features to help them stand out from the crowd. They feature interviews with real Chinese speakers on the street, and in later videos, the teacher Yang Yang also interviews her family members. This means the course teaches you both proper academic Chinese and the natural relaxed Chinese you'll hear out and about. The conversational courses also come with audio reviews, quizzes, speaking practice, flashcards, and extra downloadable files. With this much self-study material, you should find yourself naturally remembering more of the videos than with some competitor courses. However, we're not sold on the character courses and reading course, which is more like a listening one. There's nothing bad about them, they're just not as good as the alternatives. Some final thoughts on this course. It contains authentic and unscripted native dialogues. There are lots of review features and downloadable worksheets. The conversational courses have a thorough syllabus with lots of drilling. However, it has lots of English in its content. We think there are better and cheaper apps and courses for learning Chinese character, and this may not be the best option if you've got a tight deadline for learning Mandarin. Studying for the HSK exams can be a drag. The textbooks are thorough and in theory, all you really need. But if you're struggling to stay motivated, then you'll probably benefit from signing up to Chinese Zero to Heroes video courses. The courses here aren't only for people studying for the HSK exams. They'll help anyone improve their Mandarin vocabulary and grammar. However, they're structured based on the HSK system. There are over 800 videos, including warm-up ones where you're introduced to the target language, vocabulary ones that dive in deep on the new words, and grammar ones. Plus, there are homework activities. We think the grammar explanations are where the course really shines, but all the videos have value. Chinese 0 to Hero won't be enough on its own. You will likely want to pair it with textbooks or classes. However, it's an affordable resource that can help round out your studies and keep you on track for the HSK exams.
Notice that 什么 actually is said quite fast. 什么 even though it's labeled like a second tone and a neutral tone, but typically because it's said so fast that it sounds like two neutral tones in a row. It sounds like 这是什么? 这是
Some final thoughts on this course. The courses cover HSK 1 to 6. It makes studying grammar more enjoyable. And it doesn't use pinyin outside of the vocabulary videos. However, it's best as a supplementary resource. The quizzes and homework are very short, and at the beginning, some students may struggle with the lack of pinyin. You know how going to the gym is awful for the first couple of weeks, but then you're glad you stuck with it? That's a bit like the experience using Mandarin Blueprint, but instead of exercising your muscles, you're stretching your imagination. Although it starts off with a pronunciation course, Mandarin Blueprint's main focus is learning characters and words. Each character is taught with the Assimil Method, a technique that encourages you to create a coded story about the Hansi character. These codes should tell you the initial and final sounds, tone, and meaning. You have to put in a lot of work to understand these methods and create memorable stories. It takes hours of studying before you can begin actually using the language. Some learners can find this frustrating. However, others find that this method allows them to better recall the characters, and as the lessons build up from single characters to words, then sentences, and finally, full stories, they feel that they are reaping the benefits of their initial investment of time.
The component in other characters is incredibly rare, and we won't come across it until hundreds of characters down the line. So we're just going to look at it and say, that's number 3, san.
Bear in mind that technophobes will probably not enjoy Mandarin Blueprint. As well as the video lessons, you have to use Google Slides and Anki. The instructions alone are 76 slides long. Some final thoughts on this course. The course is extremely comprehensive. It uses a logical yet creative approach to studying that more analytical learners might enjoy. The Assimil method is convoluted but effective. However, you need to use the course for a while before you can reap the rewards. It's mainly focused on reading and no speaking practice, and the system is unintuitive and clunky with 3 separate apps and programs. Worried that Mandarin is too challenging? Give Coffee Break Chinese a go. This unintimidating course will help you feel comfortable learning the language. Coffee Break Chinese consists of 2 parts, a free podcast and a premium course. In the free podcast, you'll listen along as Crystal teaches Mark Mandarin in an unscripted but planned, pressure-free way. You'll learn important phrases, grammar, cultural norms, and more.
你好.
Let's listen to Crystal again, and when you hear Crystal saying a phrase or a word, we'll leave a little space so that you can repeat that after Crystal.
Invest in the premium course and you'll get access to lesson notes, a video version of the course that also contains the written, pinyin, and Hansi forms of the words, an ad-free version of the podcast, and the bonus audio lesson with additional vocabulary and translation exercises. Coffee Break Chinese won't teach you Mandarin on its own. It's just not in-depth enough. But it will take the stress out of learning a new language and help you gain some confidence. Some final thoughts on this course. A lot of the course is free. It makes Mandarin unintimidating, and you'll learn cultural information. However, it's not the best option for serious learners. You'll need to find other ways to practice writing Chinese. And with a free version, you won't be able to learn the pinyin or Hanzi spelling of the words. If you feel swamped by flashcards and Mandarin vocabulary lists, the Pimsleur Method might be a good choice for you. It's backed up by scientific research and has won over lots of language learners, and much of it centers around how to better remember vocabulary. It's made up of 4 principles: never teaching too much at a time, learning new vocabulary in context, revisiting that vocabulary after increasingly longer intervals, and giving the listener time to formulate the correct answer before providing the answer. Each Pimsleur course contains 30-minute audio lessons in which you'll listen to new vocabulary being used in conversation, hear brief explanations, and then practice saying and creating the sentences yourself. It also uses a technique called back-chaining to help you better pronounce tricky sounds.
Sound exactly like his. Be sure to repeat aloud.
起
Although there's a lot in Pimsleur's favor, it's not for every learner. If you're looking for something fast-paced and with lots of grammar explanations and vocabulary, or with writing practice, you should probably look elsewhere. Some final thoughts on this course. Lessons are well structured and build on each other. The lessons encourage active rather than passive learning. You can learn on the go, and the method is backed up by scientific research. However, the 30-minute long audio lessons can move at a sluggish pace. It teaches a limited amount of grammar and vocabulary. Visual learners may find it's not the best resource for them, and the supplementary practice activities feel basic and not overly useful. While courses are a great way to learn a language, they often provide limited opportunity for speaking practice and zero feedback. Meanwhile, one-to-one language classes give you lots of speaking practice and feedback, but often lack the structure that comes with a course. TutorMing marries the best of both worlds. It provides a thoughtfully designed course to ensure you make progress, and it also provides classes with teachers in which you can get practice at using the material in conversation, as well as receive personalized feedback and answers to any of your questions. The course is impressive. Along with studying Mandarin Chinese grammar and vocabulary, you'll learn a wealth of cultural information. In our experience, even students who live in China or have Chinese family members may come across new cultural insights. And unlike some platforms, your teachers won't just be native Mandarin speakers. They all have Chinese teaching qualifications, and it shows, as we found the teaching quality to be excellent. Some final thoughts on this course. It combines a structured course with lessons. It utilizes high-quality teachers. The interesting curriculum has lots of cultural insights. Lessons are available around the clock, and even group classes are typically one-to-one. However, you have to buy a minimum of 30 classes at a time, and although you can get a refund if you're not happy, it can be a barrier to entry. And the homework is extremely quick and simple. Ever completed a lesson or unit and felt like you still hadn't practiced the material enough? Maybe you understood it all but didn't know if you'd be able to use it in a conversation, or perhaps you simply wanted more drilling to help you remember it. With GoEast Mandarin, you'll get plenty of practice with the material. First, you can study the lesson at home, not only by going over the target vocabulary and grammar, but also by doing a range of practice activities, like flashcards, grammar quizzes, listening comprehension, fill-in-the-blank activities, and even speaking tasks. There are plenty of self-study options for each lesson. Then, after you've studied the material, you can revisit it with a teacher in class. It's the perfect opportunity to see if you can remember it, not just when looking at a flashcard deck, but also when talking to a real Chinese speaker. Some final thoughts on this course. The courses combine self-study with lessons. There are varied practice activities. It follows the HSK syllabus. You can choose between group and private classes, and you will have high exposure to Mandarin. However, you have to purchase a whole course, which can be a barrier to entry, and beginners may struggle because the courses are entirely in Mandarin. Hacking Chinese's beginner-level course, Unlocking Chinese, combines tones, vocabulary, and grammar lessons with videos on the most effective way to memorize this material, read more easily, and improve your spoken output. Other courses on this list might teach you more Mandarin, but if you're new to studying languages, this one might have the biggest long-term impact.
With a high tone, ba means 8, but if we say it with a falling tone, ba, it means dad.
The Hacking Chinese blog also contains an incredible amount of free information for beginners to advanced. And if you want even more lessons on how to study Mandarin, take a look at the other course, Hacking Chinese. It would pair nicely with any of the other courses on this list.
Pronunciation course in which I will teach you how to pronounce Mandarin clearly and with confidence.
Some final thoughts on this course. It teaches you study techniques that will be useful even when you reach an advanced level. There is lots of information about learning tones and characters, and you'll learn 150 of the most common Mandarin words. However, you won't actually learn much Mandarin, and it's somewhat expensive though you own it for life. Chinese Class 101 is like ChinesePod's enthusiastic but ultimately less impressive cousin. It contains a huge number of audio and video lessons with a range of hosts. There are pathways or courses at each level, and you can pick and choose what you study. Just like on ChinesePod, the lessons are mostly dialogue-centric. You'll listen to a target dialogue and then the hosts will break it down for you line by line. By the end of each lesson, you should have learned some new grammar and vocabulary.
He greets Wei Huang, a colleague, and asks, "How are you?"
你好吗?
Listen to the conversation and focus.
Each lesson comes with expansion materials and lesson notes, as well as some handsy worksheets. Premium subscribers also get access to a slew of features, some of which are more useful than others. Chinese Class 101 is a good option for beginner students, although you'll probably still want to use a textbook or other additional resource. Meanwhile, intermediate and advanced learners should probably look elsewhere. Although there's more challenging material on Chinese Class 101, we think the other courses on this list outperform it. Some final thoughts on this course. There is a huge number of lessons with various hosts. Premium subscribers get access to a lot of extra features, including topic-specific flashcard decks. There's a voice recorder function, and it is fairly decent for grammar. However, there is too much English, especially at higher levels, and reading and writing opportunities are limited. Learning Mandarin with Super Chinese is fun, but if you're looking for a course that does everything, you may be best off looking elsewhere. There's a lot in the app's favor. It has a well-organized syllabus, gets you to practice speaking, tests you on your listening comprehension, and introduces you to both grammar and vocabulary. Plus, it has a variety of entertaining activities. However, we were unconvinced by the activities for practicing characters, which you're never actually required to learn during the course. In the Pinyin Prep course, an AI speaking feedback left us feeling unsure about our pronunciation and how to improve it. We still think Super Chinese is a good option for learners, but you'll want to combine it with other study methods.
你好 好
Some final thoughts on this course. The syllabus is well organized. There are varied practice tasks, and it's fun. However, Pinyin Prep course has more superficial explanations than some competitors, and it falls short on characters and writing. HelloChinese started as a Duolingo alternative. However, HelloChinese is far more than just a gamified language app. It's got some of the best free Mandarin material you'll find. The course contains 50 different units, which are further divided into lessons with vocabulary, grammar, listening, speaking, reading, and writing exercises. The tips and notes sections give cultural as well as linguistic information. If you sign up to the premium plan, you'll be able to play additional games. They're beautifully designed, although some are more engaging than others. Meanwhile, the Premium Plus plan gives you further podcast-style lessons that break down a dialogue. But this isn't a typical lesson where you listen and silently repeat the material. There are fill-in-the-blank exercises for you to do. Plus, you can record yourself saying the dialogue, receive basic line-by-line feedback, and listen to the entire recording of yourself.
龙大，再见。我是龙。
Some final thoughts on this course. It has a huge amount of free material. Fun, engaging lessons are broken down into small chunks. There's a strong focus on pronunciation and tones. The Premium Plus immersion features will help you practice your speaking, and you can learn from multiple languages. However, intermediate and advanced learners should look elsewhere as it is best suited for beginner learners. And some of the premium games were dull. Some language apps use gamification in teaching. However, Nin Chinese is a game, period. And whether you're competing with other players to type pinyin quicker or reading a character's backstory, it's surprisingly addictive. Don't underestimate Nin Chinese though. It also has thorough grammar explanations, challenging translation exercises, pronunciation feedback, and a staggering number of lessons from beginner to advanced. There are some downsides to this resource, however. The audio is text-to-speech. So to avoid sounding robotic, you'll want to pair it with a pronunciation course or work with a tutor.
你好。
Some final thoughts on this course. It's fun. You'll practice vocabulary, grammar, characters, pronunciation, listening, and reading. However, some users might not see the point in the English language backstories. It uses text-to-speech, and there is no handwriting practice. At 10 to 20 minutes, ChinesePod's lessons rarely feel too long or too short. The engaging hosts help out with that by injecting their personality into every lesson. The courses go from newbie to advanced, and there are tons of lessons to choose from. The library contains 10 years worth of content. The lessons aren't designed to be taken consecutively, so you can pick and choose the topics that interest you. There's also no need to listen to all of them. You decide when you're ready to move up a level. Most of the lessons are dialogue based, that is, you listen to an example dialogue which the hosts then break down for you. Premium subscribers also get access to expansion material for the lessons, quizzes, audio files for individual words and phrases, perfect for making flashcards, and additional pronunciation lessons.
你好，早上好。
Some final thoughts on this course. The content covers learners from newbie to advanced levels. There are good pronunciation lessons available on the premium plan. There are cultural insights, and it utilizes a variety of hosts. However, the syllabus is not structured, and you'll need to go elsewhere for reading, writing, and speaking practice. Learning languages is child's play. That's the motto of the Assimil Method, which involves heavy immersion in a language before the learner begins to speak or write. You'll learn the exact same way children do, by learning how native Chinese speakers talk and eventually mimicking them. In fact, it's not until lesson 50 that you begin speaking and actively learning about grammar and sentence structure. Until that point, you'll just be listening and doing comprehension exercises. Assimil's been publishing textbooks for almost a century, and in recent years, they've also turned their hands to e-courses. Needless to say, this publishing powerhouse has got passionate fans who believe the Assimil method helps them achieve conversational fluency. However, others prefer learning how to build their own sentences from day one, rather than spending tens of hours focused on understanding and translating dialogues. Some final thoughts on this course. It uses realistic dialogues. Grammar indices and appendices are extremely thorough. Some pieces of cultural information are provided, and audio is high quality. However, it is heavily focused on translation instead of output. The pronunciation explanations and feedback could be improved, and compared to other courses and apps, it is less engaging. This cute gamified app is designed to take you up to B1 level Mandarin Chinese, although it's probably best used as a supplementary resource rather than a standalone tool. Each short and sweet lesson introduces you to grammar and vocabulary along with a variety of practice tasks. The units finish with listening comprehension exercises and the chance to practice speaking, although you won't get any feedback on this. There are also optional units on Chinese characters and pinyin. Lingodeer's companion app Deer Plus will help you drill vocabulary, grammar, and more. It's a great expansion option, but it isn't included in your premium subscription. Lingodeer currently has courses for 13 languages.
韩国你好
Some final thoughts on this course. It has courses for multiple languages. It contains decent introduction to Pinyin and Chinese Hanzi. Grammar explanations are clear, and there are listening comprehension activities. However, subscribing to two different apps while optional is annoying. Compared to some courses, it is less thorough. Speaking practice is limited, and there are no HSK drills. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by Hanzi and Mandarin vocabulary, you might like Domino Chinese. Rather than teaching you entire words and phrases, the course introduces you to individual Chinese characters. Once you've got them under your belt, you then learn how to connect them with other characters to make words, phrases, and sentences. It's like playing with Lego or even dominoes.
It looks like just a line, right? So Chinese is very simple.
Yes, there we go. So
the courses take a short and sweet approach to language learning with the brief video lessons and dialogues followed by games and flashcards. There are also printable practice sheets for writing characters, vocabulary worksheets, and a workbook. There are lots of courses to choose from, including their standard 20-level course, 3 HSK courses, HSK 3 to 5, a pronunciation course, a survival Chinese course, and a slang course. The levels in their standard courses should take you around 10 hours to complete, and after level 10, all teaching is done in Mandarin. Some final thoughts on this course. The courses are engaging and unintimidating. It encourages you to problem solve the meaning of new words. There are plenty of supplementary materials, and its services are affordable. However, you only learn from a native Mandarin speaker from level 10 onwards. Serious learners may find it too superficial for their needs. Beginner lessons move slowly, and the slideshow-based video format can feel dull. ChineseSkill is actually the original version of Lingodeer, and everything you can find on both Lingodeer and Lingodeer's companion app, Deer Plus, is still available on the regularly updated ChineseSkill, with the exception of other languages such as Japanese, Korean, Spanish, and Arabic. However, there are small differences. If you're using Lingodeer, you won't have access to the HSK vocabulary drills on ChineseSkill. Although we imagine the Lingodeer Mandarin course will still teach you that vocabulary, you're missing the pre-exam revision opportunities. ChineseSkill's premium plan is more expensive than Lingodeer's, but cheaper than the combined premium plan for Lingodeer and Deer Plus. Some of the premium games in ChineseSkill's arcade and Panda's toolbox sections are only available via the companion app Deer Plus, not Lingodeer. Confused? We're not surprised. If you want to study multiple languages, Lingodeer and Deer Plus combined beat ChineseSkill, and that's the reason for Lingodeer's higher overall rating. However, if you want more choice over the course structure, all the games in one place instead of two apps, or HSK vocabulary drills, ChineseSkill makes more sense. And if you're on a budget, work out which features are most important to you before deciding. Alternatively, try HelloChinese, our first choice of gamified app for learning Mandarin.
再见。
再见。
Some final thoughts on this course. Games are fun and entertaining. There are HSK vocabulary drills, and everything is in one app. However, premium plan is more expensive than Lingodeer's. There are fewer languages than on Lingodeer. Options for speaking practice and feedback are limited, and it is less thorough than some courses. Just like Pimsleur, you listen to a dialogue, get a grammar cultural explanation, and then practice making your own sentences and questions using the target language. Repetition is a key feature of this method, but the lesson pace isn't as snail-like as with Pimsleur, in part because it's an app rather than an audio course. What's more, Mango Languages allows you to record yourself speaking a Mandarin phrase and lay it over a native speaker's. You can listen back and repeat this as many times as you want. It's a much more effective way to spot when your tones aren't quite right than listening to one recording after the other. Unfortunately, Mango Languages is mostly focused on speaking and listening. You'll need to look elsewhere to learn how to write and read Mandarin.
你
Some final thoughts on this course. It's great for spotting pronunciation errors. You'll practice making sentences from the first lesson. Lessons build on each other well, and some North American libraries and universities offer free access. However, there is limited focus on writing and reading. Some users find the heavy drilling monotonous, and it only caters for beginner and lower intermediate learners. If you are interested in any of the resources in this video, you may find their links in the description box below. If you enjoyed this review, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. And if you're looking for more information on any particular resource, be sure to check out our website, alllanguageresources.com, where we've tested out and written about hundreds of language learning resources.